Hi, my name is Jennifer Wong. This is for Drama 15 for Professor Perry. The play that I chose for this F.O.B. or Fresh Off the Boat usually refers to people from Asian countries coming to America who are not very familiar with the American culture. A little about David. David was born in Los Angeles in 1957 to his immigrant parents. He attended both Stanford University in 1980. His most well-known play was M. Butterfly, uh, but he has also received many awards for his other works. And from 1994 to 2001, he served by appointment for President Bill Clinton on the President's Committee for the Arts and the Humanities. David is currently living in Brooklyn with his wife and 2 children. So this play is a drama/comedy that deals with assimilation, and that is a process by which a person or persons acquire social or psychological characteristics of a group. It explores the conflicts and similarities between 2 Chinese Americans and a Chinese exchange student still immersed in the customs and beliefs of the old world. The setting of the play takes place in the back room of a small Chinese restaurant owned by, also located in Los Angeles. I feel like this is an appropriate setting for the play because in a way Chinatown assimilated into culture. However, Grace, his cousin, is a first-generation Chinese who was born in Hong Kong but grew up and had been educated in the United States. Steve, who is the exchange student, came from Hong Kong as well, who is both wealthy and naively arrogant. And at the beginning of the play, we see both Dale and Grace. Dale mocks Steve for his attempts to try to adapt into the American culture, but still clings dearly to his traditional ways. Throughout most of the play, we see both Dale and Steve have constant feuds. Grace, on the other hand, understands Steve's traditions and uses it to win Steve over. Towards the end of the play, Grace and Steve leave the restaurant while Dale stays behind and continues to resent Bob's. Grace herself encountered some changes, and between the 3, she experienced the most change when it came to adapt. When it comes to the feuds between Dale and Steve, Grace is culturally assimilated like Dale, but is also in touch with her ethnic. She believed that she would fit right in with the fellow Chinese students. She quickly learned that it wasn't going to be so easy. Most of the Chinese American students would ignore her because she wasn't like them, and they also Grayson tells them that during junior high she bleached her hair and went to the beach to hang out with the cooler crowd, but it wasn't until the end of her high school and accepted that she would not be as assimilated as the other Chinese Americans. She was able to find a happy medium between both Chinese and American. treating Steve reminded her of how she was and how she felt like she was a reject. Dale's demeanor later appalled Grace, which is why she decided to leave with Steve at the end of the play rather than. Also encountered some changes. In Act 1, we see the first encounter between Grace and Steve. Grace is somewhat appalled by Steve's arrogance towards her. He sees himself as a reincarnation of Guanggang, a revered Chinese warrior, but ironically, Steve is actually appalled by Grace's attitude towards him. But Grace sees herself as Fa Mulan, who is also another great warrior. It wasn't until later in Act 2 when Dale, Grace, and Steve played a game that involved the first person to start the story and the next person would continue it. The story they told involved a battle between Guanggang, or Steve, and Fa Mulan, Grace. Grace shows Steve that she is not someone that you can simply walk all over, and Steve later realizes this. The theme of the play, or the central theme of the play, is about the experiences and conflicts between FOBs and ABCs, or American-born Chinese. We see this when it comes to Dale and Steve. We have Dale, the ABC, and Steve, the FOB, on two different ends of the spectrum. Their conflicts and feuds are apparent throughout the whole play. Dale mocks Steve by butchering his accent, talking down to Steve, or where he came from. Steve does not see why Dale has so much resentment towards him. He's doing so, therefore she sympathizes and connects more with Steve than she does with Dale. ABCs and FOBs, there's ways to actually distinguish both of them. One way is their ability to speak English. So if you prefer to speak, and that when you do speak English there's an accent, you're almost immediately identified as a FOB. ABCs, on the other hand, speak English almost exclusively. For those who do not understand Chinese, it's very limited, and I have that problem right now. To recognize ABCs and FOBs by their hairstyles. FOBs' hairstyles usually mimic Japanese and Korean pop stars, which is more like a flowy hairstyle, like a kind of an old Justin Bieber look. ABCs usually have more of the traditional spiky or short, clean cut hair. Nice style that reflects the latest trends. Although clothing and hairstyle are great ways to distinguish between FOBs and ABCs, their ability to speak English. So growing up, I didn't realize how much of a divide there was between ABCs and FOBs until I went to college. When I was a kid, I didn't have many Asian friends till later in high school. But in the play, I connected more with Grace, even though Dale was an ABC as well. The divide between the two made me realize that it's important for Asian Americans to maintain their links with to their ancestors or their birth country, because that is who they are. And without our elders, we may not be where we are today. And in the Asian culture, we're actually taught to respect our elders because they have been in this world longer than us, and so they therefore know more. Many things from our elders about life lessons or histories of the past. I feel as though I lean more towards the American culture because I was born and raised here. My first language is Cantonese, but I picked up English much faster. Although I don't know how to read or write in Cantonese or English, I do understand some words and I'm able to have a simple conversation. I do wish that I learned more when I was a kid, so I can understand my grandma, but I can still try when I talk to my mom. Connect to it on a personal level, and I believe the meaning of the play David wanted to show was